Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield. I'm the Get Fit Guy, and in today's episode, you're going to learn whether you can build muscle with body weight only exercises. Now, earlier this summer, in the episode How to Build Muscle with Body Weight Exercises, I reported on the results of a new study that showed that just flexing your muscles, the same way as you would if you were, say, posing in front of a mirror, or flexing your abs, or doing a front double biceps pose, or doing a body weight squat through a full range of motion, was just as effective as traditional weight training when it came to building muscle. Now, in that episode, I noted that actual strength gains were greater when you load with weight versus non-loaded, but the research is still taking a closer look at for anybody not wanting to be limited to using, say, dumbbells and kettlebells and resistance bands and barbells and clunky machines to build muscle, and for people who want that portable, highly versatile body weight only option. Well, now there's this new study. It's another low-load, high-rep study, and also a 2017 workout strategy that I'm delving into, and I want to look at some of these new resources so that we can discover the latest on whether you can build muscle with body weight only exercises and find out if you need to actually, say, lift heavy weight to build muscle, or if you can rely on your own body. So let's first take a look at the latest study. It's called Effects of Rest Intervals and Training Loads on Metabolic Stress and Muscle Hypertrophy. It was published really recently, and in it, 20 young athletes who were part of a university gymnastics club participated. And these folks had at least a couple years of experience with weight training, and they were randomly assigned to a short rest, low load group that did 20 reps of their exercises with 30 seconds of rest between exercises, or a high load, long rest group that did 8 repetitions of their exercises with a 3-minute rest between exercises. So 20 reps and 30 seconds of rest versus 8 reps and 3 minutes of rest. Now, both of them did the same number of sets and the same number of exercises 3 times a week for 8 weeks. And these were actually biceps and triceps exercises for their arms, specifically the barbell curl, the preacher curl, the hammer curl, the close grip bench press, the French press, and the dumbbell extension. Well, over the course of the 8 weeks, the researchers increased the weight by 10%. And whenever the participants could perform more than 20 reps for the low load group, or more than 8 reps for the high load group, that was when their weight got increased by 10%. And if you do the math from the study, the volume, meaning the number of reps multiplied by the load lifted, came out to being really close to identical for each group. So what did they discover? Well, I'll tell you in just a moment. Okay, so in this study, what they found was the high rep, low load protocol had significantly greater increases in growth hormone. Now, second, there were long-term extra gains in the muscle cross-sectional areas and muscle thickness in the group that did, again, the light load, high rep training. Now, this was especially surprising when you take into account the fact that muscle size didn't increase significantly in the high load, long rest training group. So it appears when it comes to hypertrophy, or increases in muscle size, low load, high rep with very short rest periods wins out. Now, granted, as you would have expected, only the group that lifted the heavier loads and used the longer rest periods actually showed a significant increase in another parameter of muscles, strength. But nonetheless, this study certainly suggests that training with more reps and lower weight and less rest builds more muscle compared to training with longer rest and more weight, although the latter will boost strength gains more significantly. And then finally, the participants were not using body weight only exercises, but there's a definite physiological crossover here in terms of highlighting the fact that you don't necessarily need to, say, lift heavy stuff to build or maintain muscle. You just need to exhaust the muscle with a lot of time under tension. Now, about the same time this study was released, my friend Skylar Tanner over on his website reported on an intriguing self-experiment he conducted using a year of mostly body weight only training. You can check out his website at skylartanner.com, or I'll link to the full experiment in episode number 322 show notes, which you can find at quickanddirtytips.com. Now, Skylar only trained on Mondays, yes, 1 day a week, and early when he started, his workouts were chin-up, push-up, single leg squat, row, dip, some hip work like abduction and hip thrusting, and some ab work. Now, he used a 3-count up and 3-count down cadence for his reps and tried to reach failure within about 6 to 10 reps for the upper body exercises and about 8 to 12 reps for the lower body exercises. Now, his approach stands in contrast to the previous study I mentioned, which used much, much higher reps than that. But Skyler wasn't using heavy barbells or kettlebells or dumbbells or other equipment that would traditionally be used to build or maintain muscle. Now, as his training progressed, he maintained the low loads, but he did add some weight via a weighted vest. And eventually, to keep the reps in a reasonable range as his body adapted to the moves, he also began to hold the position of each exercise in the most mechanically disadvantaged location of an exercise, like, say, holding yourself at the bottom of a push-up exercise. For example, he found that while he could do 9 reps of 4-count down, 4-count out push-ups to failure with a 30-pound weighted vest, he could also reach failure with the same rep count by simply removing the weighted vest and instead adding a 4-second hold at the lower turnaround part of the push-up. So what did he report? Well, verbatim, here's his takeaway. He said, "Did I become He-Man? Nope. Did I become Xena? Nope. Did I maintain my muscle mass? Yes." He then went on to highlight a few great tips he discovered during his entire year of bodyweight training, including use movements that track muscle and joint function through a safe range of motion, like push, pull, squat, and hinge. Use a weight that lets you get to muscle failure in good form without suffering too much, meaning it's going to challenge you, but you shouldn't chase the suffering. Number 3, initiate the movement smoothly, as well as the turnarounds in the movement. Train 1 to 3 times per week, depending on your goals and your motivation. Spend the rest of your time moving and enjoying your life. And then a couple of bonuses. If you have a sport you'd like to excel in, keep, but do less of the strength training, focusing on things that might stave off overuse injuries, like rotator cuff work for a pitcher, or shin raises and hip abduction for something like running. And bonus number 2 is if you have low bone density or osteoporotic, you need some sufficient loading to stimulate bone turnover. Now, heavy static holds are the safe way to accomplish this, and that would mean getting into certain positions and holding them for significantly long periods of time. Now, finally, there's my own bodyweight workout program that I highlighted in part 1 and part 2 of my recently published What is the Perfect Workout for 2017. And again, if you go to quickanddirtytips.com, look at the show notes for this episode number 322, and you'll see how I'm programming in my own bodyweight training. So, for example, one workout that I'll do, and even include my kids in, is a workout that was first published in the New York Times as the ultimate bodyweight workout. It is jumping jacks, wall sits, push-ups, crunches, step-ups, squats, dips, planks, running in place with high knees, lunges, push-ups with rotation, and side planks, all with 30 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest. Now, I'm also doing some other strength training in addition to this, and you can check out all of that I'm doing if you go to the show notes for this episode, or you can also download the training plan over at bengreenfieldfitness.com/detox plan. That's bengreenfieldfitness.com/detox plan. Finally, for dessert, I'll give you a recent bodyweight training workout that I just completed in a hotel room right before I recorded this. Here it is. 1 set of each of these. Super slow push-ups to exhaustion. Super slow squats to exhaustion. Super slow pull-ups using a suspension strap that I travel with to exhaustion. Super slow hip hinges to exhaustion, and super slow V-ups. Now, within 1 round of that, your body's going to be pretty tired. If you do 2 rounds, you'll be beat, and 3 rounds will have you doing a 40-minute, really exhausting training session that'll leave you feeling like you've been hoisting a heavy barbell. So pick your poison accordingly. And in the meantime, if you have questions, comments, or feedback about whether you can build muscle with bodyweight exercises or anything else I discussed in this episode, then join the conversation over at facebook.com/getfitguy. And until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.